In the early days of the railroad, the trains used to stop in the straight section. Passengers would get off and pick wildflowers. If you're a model railroader, once in a while you sit back and daydream about the biggest and nicest layout you would build if you had the means. Right now we're going to meet a Maryland man who turned those dreams into reality.
When you walk into the layout room, the first thing that hits you is, wow, this is one of the most intricate and detailed layouts I've ever seen in my life. Everything is there that could be there, that should be there. There's constant action to keep your attention. There's detail upon detail, and it's huge. Here are a few of the numbers. It fills close to 3,000 square feet, which is about twice the size of the average starter home. That's 45 feet wide by 60 feet long. If you went outside and laid the track end to end, it would stretch out for over 1 mile. There are 9 separate transformers. There's a 13-stall roundhouse. There are 7,000 model trees. But there's one owner and chief operator, businessman Tony Lash.
Got my first train in Christmas of 1947, which I still have my original set. And every week I would buy a car, or I would lay away a car or engine or something like this. And I came from a railroad family. My grandfather and uncles all worked for the Norfolk and Western Railway. And that was how I fell in love with trains.
As an adult, Tony Lash would decide to base his dream layout on the West Virginia coal country he knew as a child.
I tried to model the area that I grew up with. I used to ride a 6YB when I was a young kid with the Norfolk and Western with my grandfather from Bluefield, West Virginia to Norfolk or to Hampton Roads, really. And hauling loaded coal cars down and empty coal cars back. And that was just a thrill, and it just got into my blood, and to smell the steam and to smell the smoke, and just to be able to feel the raw power of a 6YB is just something that I would never forget, and it was an experience that I certainly appreciate being able to have when I was growing up.
The O-gauge rolling stock is from Mike's Train House, and as you can see, there's a lot of it. He likes the size, the detail, and the all-around quality.
I stuck with O-gauge because of my age. It's hard for me to put the HO on the track and to see all of the good detail. And I grew up with O-gauge.
Tony Lash had built a number of layouts as an adult, but when this business executive decided to build the biggest and the best, he knew he would need some help. Help with the bench work, the switches, the scenery, the signals. Help with just about everything. He and nearly 15 layout experts spent more than 3 years building this masterpiece. 3 years turning Tony's fantasy and vision into reality.
It was complex because it was large. I mean, the number 10 wire alone, I've got about 1.5 miles of that strung under here. So from the basics of how much work had to be done, there was a lot of man hours in it.
My part on the layout was about 1.5 years of 3-day weekends. I had a partner helping me at the time, so there were 2 of us here over that period. We used rock face. I use a water-soluble method using plaster cloth to give myself the basic design, and then attaching literally hundreds of rock molds to the plaster cloth using a spackling compound. As an adhesive, we were able to sculpt the verticals as well as give ourselves several crevices that add to real erosion look.
Tony and his pals have put together a realistic work of art, the kind that every model railroader dreams about, the definition of excellence.